You know you love burritos. You know you love tacos. Come on, you know you do. Well, Baby Loves Tacos and its 2 locations in Pittsburgh, PA, is where you need to be to get the good stuff. The original hot spot right smack in the middle of Little Italy on Liberty Avenue in Bloomfield, and their newer second location in Millvale, right over the 40th Street Bridge. They're both awesome locations. Zach, Kat, Kaz, John, Ben, and the rest of those groovy cats serve up the best Mexican-style food this side of the Mexican border. I meant to say Texas border, but I said Mexican border. Baby Loves Tacos will fill you up and make you smile. So when in Pittsburgh, head over to Baby Loves Tacos and tell them Twisted Rico sent you. Baby Loves Tacos, where everyone eats. Welcome to the Blowing Smoke with Twisted Rico podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ricardo, coming to you from NewAlliance East Studio in Somerville, Mass. Without any further ado, the person that I think should have read that Baby Loves Tacos spot instead of me, coming back to the show for a third time, our favorite alt model, Collibrina. Welcome.
Hi.
I'm sorry. I'm in a really goofy mood today. I don't know why. Maybe it's a good day to have you on because I'm very goofy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a goofy mood literally almost every day, so I wouldn't worry about it.
Why did I know that you were going to say that before you said that? Because you seem like you like to have fun with simple things. Is that true?
Yes. I do not get bored easily at all. I don't know if it's that I like to have fun or that I just force myself into enjoyment of just really menial activities. Who knows? Who can say?
You're very creative, so you can somehow get creative about a lot of different things. And today we're going to talk about some of your creativeness, including your film, The Feminist, which I can't wait to talk about. But there's something I wanted to tell you because, everyone, we refer to you as a sex worker and an OnlyFans star. You like that when I called you an OnlyFans star. And, an alt model. But I'm going to tell you something about me that you may or may not find interesting. When I lived in California and I was working for Third Stone Music, before I went to A&M Records, I used to hang around in Venice a lot, right on where the Venice Pier is. It's like what separates the Marina Peninsula and Venice Beach. I don't know if you've ever been out there. But I was in a bar one day, and I recognized these 2 guys, and I started talking to them. They were porn actors. I can't remember their names now, but I recognized them because obviously I got to know a lot of people in the porn industry because that's, L.A.
Of course.
I was good friends with Barbara Dare and Dana Dillon. And these guys tried to talk me into being an actor in porn. They said I had a good look. And they asked me if I was, good on the lower side of my body, which I thought was kind of a funny question. But the only reason I'm telling you this is I could have been a sex worker too, but I stayed in the music business instead. So I don't know how you feel about that, but
I could have been in the music business, but then I became a sex worker. So I mean, I don't know if anyone's ever yeah, of course. I mean, life takes us in all sorts of different directions. I'm really impressed that you recognize them and that they were yeah, you got to look. You should. I think that's actually really wonderfully encouraging. It unfortunately reminds me of some time that some guy was hitting on me and was like, "Oh, I'm a model too." They use my lower half for models for sex toys, and I was like, okay. And he gave me his number, and I threw it away when he walked away from me.
Yeah, well, I kind of know where you stand as far as sexuality goes, so that must have been a pretty funny scene. I wish I could have seen that. When I told Barbara Dare, if you look her up, she was like, I'm not going to say her real name because we became really good friends. When I told her about it, she laughed and she said, you don't want to get in this industry. Just don't even think about it. You don't want to do it. And she took me to Vivid, the company that she was involved with. And it was so amazing going to their warehouse in the valley and seeing like the enormous. Back then it was videotapes. It was even before DVDs. This is like in the early '90s. So anyway, I was thinking about that when I was driving over here, and I figured I would bring it up to you because you could appreciate it, I think.
Do you ever have any regrets? Or do you ever like stare into the distance and wonder what could have been?
Well, no, because I did, like most people do and really will admit, did do some home video work with some of my ex-girlfriends. I'm not going to mention their names because they probably wouldn't want. They probably don't even. They thought I probably erased the tapes, which I'm not going to say if I did or not. But I wasn't.
But you have the memories.
Yeah, I wasn't very impressed though with my ability to do it on video. So so that's what. No, I don't have any regrets. I can't believe I'm having this conversation, but it's Collibrina, so I can talk to you about these things, right?
Of course. No, you can trust me. I was like, no.
So let's talk about your film, The Feminist. I watched it. I really liked it. It's like about an hour, like what is it, 58 minutes long or something like that? It's almost an hour, pretty much.
It's too long.
Well,
it's about an hour.
It depends how you look at it, because I was feeling a real Warhol vibe. Andy had all these really bizarre films that I loved from the 70s. And when I lived in Pittsburgh, the Andy Warhol Museum's there, and I used to go there all the time. Were you a fan of Andy Warhol at all, by any chance?
That's a really awkward question. Okay, so I appreciate certain things that Andy Warhol did, and I'm not going to be like, oh, no, he's never influenced me. But, like, as a dude, I'm pretty sure I straight up hate him because of the way that he exploited his muses. And, like, especially, I have a lot of empathy the most towards Edie Sedgwick, and I remember watching the movie Factory Girl and just being so, I don't know if you've ever seen Factory Girl, but it's really more focused on the relationship between like Warhol and Sedgwick, and I think Andy Warhol is sort of the reason that I became so viscerally grossed out by the word muse, and how I started to hate it when people called me a muse when they would hire me to like model. They'd be like, "You're my muse," and I'm like, "I did not consent to being your muse, sir." So at the same time, like, I've seen a fair amount of Warhol's films, and I've been like, "Oh yeah, this is cool." Like, I understand the influential basis of what I'm doing and how that can be connected to that. But at the same time, there's always that complicated piece that we don't need to, like, go into for too long, of being like separating the art from the artist, and like how much can we appreciate knowing that somebody who made something really cool was a total bag of dicks.
Wow, so, I didn't expect
that's where I stand on that.
I understand, how some people probably don't like everything he did, and I know there was a lot of controversy there, so I respect your opinion on that. In the film, there's so many different parts. I don't know where to start, but what I pulled out, I just pulled a few things out. There was one section where there's a conversation going on. I'm not sure if it was between you or Rush, because sometimes you're talking, but I don't know if you're talking to anyone. I just think you're talking. And you were talking about how women have a larger support mechanism than men do. And that was a really interesting thing that you brought up. Can you elaborate on that? Because I totally agree with you. It seems that whenever I've had relationship problems in my life, I would prefer to discuss them with a woman rather than another man.
I'm happy to elaborate on that. So I think to give credit where credit is due, I did not at all originate, this understanding of kind of a social trend. I kind of read an article or listened to a sequence. I know it's not as like special, but it's the truth. It's from like on NPR. The thing is called like, "Guys, we have a problem: how American masculinity creates lonely men." And so I remember a friend of mine sending me that article, and my brain just sort of inflating and exploding all at once, because I think I had been very confused by how men interact with each other sometimes, or how like cis men are supposed to interact with each other sometimes. And so like the article or the kind of like radio sequence sort of talks about first like a friendship between like two young boys and how they like support each other and how they care for each other. And as I'm reading this, you know, I'm already kind of understanding, because we've read the title of the article, the way that this can devolve once they become adults. And I'm already kind of mourning the closeness that they've shown each other as children, because like at some point someone's going to be like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Or, you know, kind of like, yeah, it's an amazing kind of like article or recording, depending on which, you know, source you check out.
Was it completely accidental that that topic came up when you were filming, or did you plan on that, or did you just happen to pop into the Was that a conversation that you were having with Rush, or was that just you just talking?
That was actually just me talking. It was from so the films are kind of a collection of tons of different sort of footage, and so some of it has recordings of audio over different video and vice versa. So it's kind of like, and this is kind of attached to the editor of these things, like my collaborating partner, who goes by Jimmy Tube. So a lot of the creative decisions are his as well as mine. Because, you know, this is kind of us together. So I'll do my thing, and, you know, they'll use what I do and kind of put it together. So it's from a totally separate thing in which I wasn't talking to Rush. I was just like on video, probably doing something super menial, like, or regular, like putting on lotion. And I was just kind of talking about being on the phone with my friend and her realizing that her boyfriend's friends knew nothing about him, and that she was like the only person that knew things about him. And I thought that sounded really burdensome for her, and also like oddly stressful, because she had concerns about him, and she was trying to share these concerns with their mutual friends, and they were like, oh, hey, I actually didn't know about this thing and this thing and this thing. And she wasn't even trying to bring up anything that was particularly super intimate, just kind of general things. And because I'm so enmeshed with my way of life, I'm so confused about like having, by the idea of having friends that don't actually know a lot of things about me, and only having my partners romantically know things about me. Like, that's very confusing for me and how I've lived, and it kind of made me sort of confront a larger kind of like idea and demand and strain on relationships that I'd never really considered for cis men in our culture. And the article also kind of goes on to mention like a man who had gotten divorced recently, and him feeling like so isolated because his wife was his support system. And I just was really, really enthralled by this idea. And so like seeing a reflection of that idea just in a conversation in my life really hit me.
You know, if I could just intervene for a second, I had a friend who he was married, but his wife had moved on, and he was in just such denial about it. He would never talk about it. He would act like they were still together, and this went on for years. I think a lot of guys, they don't know how to express themselves to other guys about when their relationship's going wrong. They want everyone to think that they're like, you know, oh, everything's just perfect in our relationship, you know? There's a lot of men like that out there. And whenever I've had problems with relationships, I've not talked to other men about those problems. Even when I went to therapy, I would rather talk to a woman, than a man, you know? And that's what I felt when I was listening to that. That was like one of the things that popped out in my head, listening to you talk. Like, I feel like if I had a problem in a relationship, I could talk to a woman that even someone that's not really close to me, and it would be easier for me to talk about it than with another man.
I mean, that's fascinating just in itself. It seems like there's this idea of like projecting understanding on women that like, I don't understand exactly who decided like that we're supposed to like have men look at each other if they're like, you know, not interested romantically in men and be like, I don't really want to talk to this guy about my things. I'm like, really? Like, are you just gonna sit in silence? Like, don't you want to know something about the person you've chosen to spend your time with at all?
It's perplexing. You mentioned that you could have been standing there rubbing lotion on your face when you were talking about that. And there is a scene in the film where you are rubbing the stuff on your face and neck, and it's like real chunky and gooey. What was that?
It was a face mask. I absolutely really love skincare to some sort of ridiculous point. I probably spend too much money on skincare. It's like my vice. I really like taking care of my skin. And so that footage is from the summer. And over the summer, this is embarrassing for me. I did not have any air conditioning, not because I literally didn't have any, but I was so broke that I could not pay for the energy bill for air conditioning. So I was finding a lot of ways to cool down. And skincare is always kind of part of my life. But this face mask was like all kind of perishable, refrigerating ingredients. So it had to stay in the fridge or else it would actually go bad. So I took it out of the fridge immediately and put it on my face, which I'm not even sure if that's great for your pores, to be honest, because cold makes your pores smaller, but that's not relevant. This was sort of one of my ways of cooling down.
Wow. I'm learning here. I'm learning. Do you want to give I'm learning here. Do you want to give a plug to like one of these skincare products that you're like talking about? I mean, what do you have a go-to for the, like, do you have a go-to?
I mean, I don't think Lush needs any of my business or help, but that particular face care was from Lush, but I also use stuff from Paula's Choice. Sometimes I use a few different things. I use some smaller like Korean brands that I can't remember off the top of my head. I think in the video I was using a Lush face mask, but I haven't actually used many of their products in a while because I haven't gone anywhere to get like, you know, something that needed to be refrigerated from them. So
I think that makes
sense.
I think I may have been like indulgent in some sort of marijuana at the time when I was watching it. So it was really fascinating to me how long that went on for. And I was like, this is really, I'm sitting here watching this woman with this stuff. And it was interesting to me. I have no idea why, but it was. There was also I'm going to try and say it, but I'm probably going to say it wrong. You're talking about persimmons? Oh yeah, persimmon. You're so close. It's just persimmon, or persimmons plural. Yeah, I talked a very long time about that fruit. And you had two there must be some people that are listening right now and going, these two people are completely nuts, right? Which is fine with me. So you have two different kinds of persimmons. I should keep trying to say it. And you're talking about
persimmon. I don't even know the plural.
You're like explaining the difference between the two. Could you like tell me what the hell that was all about? Because I have no idea what the difference is, and I don't know if I've ever even had one.
I really would like you to have one, and I can tell you which kind you should try first.
I was hoping you would do that. Is it anything like a pomegranate?
I love pomegranates.
Me too.
I think the only way that it's similar to pomegranates is that it's in season around the same time that pomegranates are. So it's kind of a fall/winter fruit. And the first time that I had persimmon was, I think, probably when I lived in New York. I think there were just a bunch like being sold outside in Chinatown, and I was like, these are pretty. I want to eat these. So the longer ones, I think, are called hachia persimmons, and the smaller ones are called fuyu. And I was complaining because I had ordered. I was obviously emphasizing this for effect. I didn't actually call the grocery company and complain.
I was affected by it. Here we are talking about a film, The Feminist, which for the most part you're naked pretty much in about, I don't know, like a large percentage of it. And I'm And I'm talking to you about facial products and persimmons, because those are the things. And the next thing I bring up is going to be bizarre too. And people are probably thinking, what in the hell is going on here? It's like, it's true art, when you can bring all these strange things in. Because of course I'm going to ask you about the tree next, because there's all these scenes, and then you keep going back, or the editor keeps going back to a tree in the dark, and it's just like barely moving. I don't even know how to ask the question about the tree. Maybe you can tell me about the tree.
I can talk to you about the tree. So
of course you can.
I also don't want to take credit for the tree, because the tree is definitely like, it's from Jimmy Tube. So before we had to be, apart because, this whole pandemic thing, I don't know if you've noticed people dying and stuff.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Went outside in California and inhaled the air of corpses. But anyway, so Jimmy Tube and I are super different people, and they are someone who's pretty isolated even before the pandemic and in nature constantly. And so, yes, they used to take video footage of me and photos of me, but then I obviously started having to film things at home. And pretty much when they're not filming people, which is almost always, most of their footage is just trees and nature. So that was the images that they had. It was a tree. And so it sort of represents their kind of isolation just in general of like being in nature.
I see that. Yeah.
Like just surrounded by, and now this isolation can sort of work for everyone in that parallel, but it kind of just started off as a personal sort of thing for them.
And they used the tree to separate scenes kind of too, but then they would go back to the same scene. There's one scene where you're wearing this really outstanding outfit and you're slowly taking it off, but I swear it took about 15 minutes for you to take it off. I mean, it was like the longest. I mean, anyone out there that's wondering what kind of film this is, and they're thinking because Collibrina is a sex worker and that's what she does, there's nothing about porn. This is so far from porn that it's not even close. It's not in the same category. So if you think you're going to get a film and you're going to be watching it for the porn, there's no porn. Am I correct when I say that?
Yeah, this would not, I think, have that category comfortably. And this is not to say that, like, I have any problem. I'm very, like, porn positive, but I did not make this film to be like porn. Just that's not how my brain was working at the time. I'm just a little bit too weird to make anything very straightforward.
Well, before I ask you about one of the scene, I'm going to ask you what your definition of the film is, because I want to hear that. But I have to ask you about the rent is due scene, because I actually thought your acting was really good in that segment. It seems like you're just having a conversation with yourself the whole time, but it was interesting. But I don't know what it had to do with the rent being due.
I mean, that scene was sort of like an improvised sequence when I was thinking about what a virtual date might be.
Oh, cool. I like that.
Thank you. And so the rent is due at the bottom. If you've noticed in the films, like there's all sorts of strange shit that's kind of written at the bottom.
Yes.
And some of them like are like eating or like rent is due. And I feel like it sort of adds this depth to like what you see versus what is going on like on someone's mind. And it's, I don't know if I would say it's kind of a forced distraction, but I understand it being distracting. So I think the vibe is kind of like, I'm on this date. I'm really like doing my best and, you know, to be sweet and adorable, or this person's on a date, doesn't really have to be me. But in the back of my mind, there's still all the kind of like pervasive, scary thoughts of like, how am I going to pay rent? What am I going to do? Or like, I'm hungry, or like just additional thoughts that kind of will invade us. And so it's sort of a multi-focus ADD exercise, I think, or ADHD exercise, of where I think we're always balancing multiple things. I think that also works for, you know, the time of the pandemic in which, like, you know, we talk about other stuff, but there still is this whole thing surrounding us. And so having those kind of strange, like, things at the bottom referring to, like, a thought process that's completely different than what you're seeing is just that general reminder that there's usually more going on with something than what you think.
That makes sense to me, believe it or not. The thing, you know, when I was trying to figure out which film to get when I watched all the previews, the music, this is going to blow everyone away that hasn't seen it. The music score is by Kristen Hirsch, who I absolutely adore. I'm a huge Throwing Muses fan. I love all her solo work. So when I heard her, I was like, okay, that's Kristen Hirsch. Her voice is like so recognizable that I immediately said, this is the one. Tell us, how in the world did Kristen Hirsch end up doing the music score on this film?
I wish I could take credit for this, but this all is really affiliated with Jimmy Tube, having done some video work with her and having gotten her permission to use her music for films. That
did she actually see the film? Did she want to see it before her music was used?
I wish I knew the answer to that. I think she kind of just gave certain permission for certain pieces and was like, you can use my work for films. I actually don't even know if she's seen this film, which is embarrassing for me. I don't know if she knows who I am. That's okay. As long as she's not mad. As long as she isn't mad or resentful, I'm happy.
Usually when you like have someone score a film or do the music, they usually want money. So it sounds like she just did it because Jimmy and her had a relationship, and she said use it, which I think is totally cool because the music kind of fits. Just let me try, before I get your synopsis and description of how you would describe the film, I wouldn't say it's bright, it's more dark than bright. But how would you describe The Feminist?
I think it's a little bit frenetic, a little bit scattered, definitely more dark than bright. The effect that we were going for was as if you had sort of been driving along and you found a VHS on the side of the road, and you're like, you happen to have a VCR, which is very cool, and you pop in this VHS tape, and you're like, what the fuck is this? That was sort of what we were going for in terms of vibe.
I love that. So you have a lot of films. Like, do you even know how many?
I don't even know how many. I don't count. I've never tried to count, which is, I have a bunch, and it's just from like making a lot of footage and like having it cut together in like certain ways.
So for people that were wondering where they can check this out, it's Collibrina.com, and you can rent it for like only $6. Correct me if I'm wrong about the pricing. And you can buy it for $12. So it's a really good deal. If you want to see some really cool art, I give that film an A+. It got my attention, and I watched it twice. And both times I was transfixed on certain things in the film. So thank you for making such great art. I'm complimenting you right now in a huge way.
Thank you so much for checking it out and for not like throwing your computer or phone with which you watched it on, because it's pretty much the opposite of TikTok or something like that. I appreciate it a lot.
The opposite of TikTok. I like that. That would be the best way to describe it. This is the opposite of TikTok. Wow. Well, cool. So we told everyone where they can get the films, and I'm hoping that somebody goes out there and checks it out. I think people will. Is there any other ones besides The Feminist that you would highly recommend for people to check out? Or I don't know if that's your best one. It's the one that kind of drew me in out of all the previews, because you can watch previews of all of the films, and that's what that's what I did. I watched all the previews, and then I'm like, I'm getting that one, and I picked the Feminist.
Like,
remember I called you and I said, can you recommend one? But you didn't call me back fast enough, and I said, I can't wait. I'm just gonna like pick one because I wanted to immediately start watching it, and I did. But is there another one that you would recommend, or is that even one of your favorite ones?
I feel like my favorites change, and some of it gets to the point of like when I've been working on something for long enough, I will get like almost bored or resentful of it. So like, The Feminist was my favorite at one point, and then I was like, oh, not this again. And then like I'll take some time away, and then I'll be proud of it again. I don't know if there's like, so I don't really know if I have a favorite right now. I am proud of The Feminist now that I've taken enough time.
It's great. It really
walking away from it.
It really is great. I really love it. I'm serious. It's just fantastic. You should be proud of it. Definitely.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on here because there were some other interesting things that I talked to you about doing, and you came through. I asked you to pick out some tunes for the show that you liked, and you did. So right now we're going to listen to one of them. This artist is called That Handsome Devil, and the song is called A Drink to Death, and we're going to hear that right now.
Make sure my glass is full. Let's crash and see how fast we go. You took a shot and I held a breath. I'm gonna drink myself to death. It'll eat your insides, your brain burns and your skin dries. Bumping for the alleys like you think you're still alive. I wanna hold you closely, I wanna smell your sweat. Today. There will be no candles, there will be no romance. I will be alone, we will not hold hands. There will be no toasting, there will be no romance. You're young, I am an old man. If I pass out, wake me up. I may be drunk, but I'm not drunk enough. And everything keeps fucking up. We were nice together, weren't we once? I'm drunk, but I'm not drunk enough. We were nice together, weren't we once? Make sure my glass is full. We can laugh till I'm the last to know. From now till nothing's left, I'm gonna drink myself to death. Myself to death. When I woke, it was daylight and the clouds were pink. The sun was coming up or going down. I think we had jumped around, shouted out and pound. I'm gonna drink myself to death. Down home, the walls, the dirt, all down. Drink myself to death. Make sure my glass is full. Let's make the evening magical. The liars have no regrets. I'm gonna drink myself to death. Make sure my glass is full. Let's crash and see how fast we go. I'll take a shot and hold my breath. I'm gonna drink myself to death. Myself to death. Nights have lost their mind, and the mornings are unkind. And this the last I see of you. And this the glass I drink myself to death. The nights have lost their minds,
There are many reasons to smoke marijuana or to take LSD. Drugs produce the energy, the attention, the very ability to see what is. Those who take drugs produce new insights. One important part of the drug problem is that possession of them is illegal. It is an unenlightened law. The courts today are crowded with young offenders. Tragically, many of them are from good homes. This trend has alarmed every responsible segment of the community. Freedom can be so jeopardized by politics that more realistic values and a meaningful, less materialistic society may never have the opportunity of becoming a reality.
That was a Drink to Death by That Handsome Devil from the 2014 album Drugs and Guns for Everyone. Cool tune for sure. What made you pick this song out? Was it the drinks, the guns, or the drugs? I'm being funny right now.
I just absolutely love that song so much, and I remember like being so stricken by how there was sort of like, I don't know, how do I put it?
You stumped me, by the way, because I never heard it.
You never heard it before?
No, I never had heard the song, so I love when someone tells me to check something out, and then I listen to it, and I'm like, wow, this is interesting. And the singer's name is God Forbid. I mean, how can you not appreciate someone with a name God Forbid? That's actually the name. I guess these guys are from Boston, but they moved to Brooklyn, and that's where they're based now. And they have a pretty big discography. If you like what you heard, people, check them out. I mean, you obviously like them.
I absolutely love them, and that's just one of my favorite songs by them. They have a new album that just came out, and I bought it literally yesterday, so I actually haven't listened to it yet. So I can't even plug it by name, but
I can. I'm prepared. I can. It's called Your Parents Are Sellouts, and that's their new album.
Yes.
Yep. I was on top of that. I knew that we would have to talk about this. Did you ever actually meet this band?
I have spoken to God Forbid a few times, and I think he's super cool.
I can't help but laugh when you say the name. What a great name.
No, that makes a lot of sense. No, I understand feeling that way. It's, I mean, I also have a name that people laugh at, so I have a lot of empathy for anybody who has the kind of name where somebody raises one eyebrow and is like, what's your real name? So, yeah, I know that life.
I've never asked you your real name, and I don't want to ask you your real name. And I don't care what God Forbid's real name is anyways, because God forbid if his name was James or something, it would be so boring, but, he's God Forbid. Okay, can we listen to one of your other songs now?
Absolutely.
This one is by Natti Vogel, and the song is called I Don't Want to Find the One, and we're going to play that for you right now.
What a marvelous party, never seen a scene quite so scenic. With a life for the party, you and I, they say, like they mean it. But if they wanted to connect, if they wanted to inspect, then they'd do it. Instead of trying to convince us that they're fabulous, with fabulous, it's all just sticking to my tongue, sticking to my mouth, man. Gotta get it out before I choke. 'Cause I don't wanna find the one. That's just an idiot fantasy that we're waiting on again. No, I don't wanna find the one. Is it love, 'cause I don't wanna find the one. Well, I'll admit that when I met you, I bet you would get to be a habit. We like lining up the white dots, getting in the tight spots, and wreaking havoc. Now you hate to be alone, hate the sound of my iPhone whenever it's ringing. it's not love when they reach out to touch you when you pitch it. Is this the end game of romance, man? Making endless plans, plan it if you can, but leave me out. 'Cause I don't wanna find the one that's just a naked fantasy that we're waiting on again. No, I don't wanna find the one. Is it love? 'Cause I don't wanna find the one. I get so much better when you put pressure on me. Don't expect me to be everything I want, yeah. Love is so much better when you don't put pressure on it. Don't expect it to be everything I want, 'cause it's such a gift to give it, to take it, to make it. Oh, I wouldn't trade it for a ring to your heart. 'Cause I don't wanna find the one that's just an idiot fantasy that we're waiting on again. No, I don't wanna find the one that's just an idiot fantasy that we're waiting on again. No, I don't wanna find the one. Is it love? 'Cause I don't wanna find the one.
That was Natti Vogel, I Don't Find the One, from the 2018 release Serving Body. Natti is also from Brooklyn. I also, I listened to another one of the songs. It was called "We All Moved to Brooklyn," and I thought that was pretty cool. This song was equally dramatic to me as God Forbid and That Handsome Devil. The lyric is, "We all move to Brooklyn when we die." And I actually liked the piano on that one. I mean, that was really cool. So are you into like drama pop? Is that how you would describe these artists?
I mean, I myself am excessively dramatic, so I think I'm very much drawn to anything that will kind of cater to any theatrical aspect of me. So anything that has some kind of theatrical aspect, like I can connect to. So I don't even know if I really pursued it as a genre in music, like consciously, as much as just would connect to anything that has that in the sound.
Yeah, by the way, as far as I know, there is not a genre called drama pop. I just coined that phrase. There may be a genre called drama pop, but I never heard it before. But I heard these two songs and I was thinking, it's like theater, These songs are like very theater, and they're kind of like your vibe, So I can understand why you like these songs. Does that sound weird that I can understand that?
No, I mean, I'm delighted, actually. I mean, I'm delighted to be, have there to be an understanding in, connection to music that I like, and have you kind of be like, oh, yeah, I get why you like that. That makes perfect sense to me. Why not?
You see, people that are hearing you talk and you're very, you're funny and you're open and you're not afraid to talk about anything, they probably wouldn't think drama when they think about you, but they haven't seen The Feminist. So they don't really know. People that have, I see a lot of your work is very dramatic. I mean, it's like your photography, your photos, all the people you worked with. I've seen like all your stuff. I was on your OnlyFans. I watched your naked yoga videos. I'm a fan, basically. You probably realize that. This is your third time on the show, so you probably realized it. So I think people have to check your work out. If they can't just listen to your interview and think that they understand Collibrina, because no, it's not that simple. You're somewhat of an enigma in certain ways.
I mean, I definitely can be.
That was a pregnant pause.
Drama. It's very strange to call oneself an enigma. I don't know if anyone should do it.
I think it's a compliment in a lot of ways, because you don't, people that you can understand right away and you figure them out right away, they're not that fun. You know, people that are more of an enigma to me are more fun, especially doing something like this, you know, art, you know, the art. So I let you pick out 2 songs, and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to pick out a song, and I'm going to let Collibrina listen to this song, and I'm going to get her impression of it. And this is an interesting one. I've played it before on my show. It's 50 Foot Furies, and the song is called My Body. So let's listen to that right now.
When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is stand in front of a full-length mirror, looking at my beautiful body. I say, hey, gorgeous, you look pretty today. Pretty fucking dangerous! 1, 2, 3, 4. My body, my dream. My body, I'm queen. My body, my scream. My muffin top spilling over my tray. My body, my way. My body, my veins. My body, my ways. My blood, my heart, my walk. Hey! My body, my cellulite. My body walks you all night. My body, my voice. My body is my choice, not yours. So I was laying on the couch with my baby, watching Golden Girl reruns, smoking some of that delicious Phil Murphy marijuana. And he said, baby, I'm hungry. I got the munchies. You want some 2 boots? I said, baby, I don't want some 2 boots. He said, how about falafel? Would you like some falafel? I said, baby, I got something for you right here. Gluten-free, no artificial colors, 100% FDA approved organic, and it's never been in a cage. But I tell you, the best part is, you know the best part is, it tastes delicious. He said, that sounds amazing. I want to put that in my mouth right now. What is it? It's my ecstasy, it's my weaponry. Feels so good to me when you feed on me. It's my weaponry, it's my ecstasy. Feels so good to me, come and be with me. My body, it's my weaponry, it's my ecstasy. Come and be with me. My body, it's my weaponry, it's my ecstasy. Come on, feed on me now.
That was 50 Foot Furies from the album Miss American President. So since feminism is something that I think you like to talk about, what do you think about my Riot Girlfriends from Jersey City, New Jersey, and their song My Body?
That was fun, though. Like, that was an actually super fun song. I loved, like, all of the lyrics. I immediately felt, like, really energized and, like, powerful when I listened to it, which I definitely can see that as a point. I'm definitely going to check out the rest of their music, too. They just sound like very cool people.
Yeah, you can hear all their stuff on Bandcamp, by the way. So, I mean, it's 3 girls and actually a guy played drums on the record. One of the women, Susan Luton, I mentioned this a lot, she went to school right down the street at Tufts University, and I met her when she was a college student when I just had moved back to Boston and recruited her to be the bass player in this band that I managed, 3.5 Girls, and she's been playing music ever since then, and that was around 1996, I believe. And now she's in this band, and they're very political, and I like it. I like that about them. When you listen to some of their other songs, this one right here, I figured was perfect for you to hear. I thought you would appreciate it.
Oh yeah, I absolutely loved it, and I love that they mentioned Two Boots Pizza. That made me really hungry.
Yeah, the whole talking segment of the song is really it's really good. I like women that, you know, they keep their partner in line, you know what I mean? I needed more of that in my life. I needed to be kept in line more, you know? This band, you know, this is 3 kind of really different songs that we just listened to. So the diversity.
Yeah, definitely. But it's great.
Yeah, the diversity is there. So, you know, I know that we're still in the middle of this pandemic, but do you have like future plans, like of things that you want to do now that we can feel like we're almost turning the corner here?
I think I mentioned this last time I was on the podcast, but I'm not sure. I'm still working on the photo book, because that is something that I can do without needing to travel as much, and also because I've always wanted to release one. So I'm glad that I'm finally forced to put in that effort, and that'll probably mean that I'll release another one if this one goes well.
Now, are you going to use photos from a variety of photographers in the book?
Actually, I'm only going to use them from one person, and it will just be photo work with Jimmy Tube, who I've done the art films with. You guys collaborate a lot. Is he located also in the Boston area? No, actually, but I'm not allowed to reveal where Jimmy Tube is located. And I've sworn to a ton of secrecy. And it's just, they hate talking to, like, the public and sort of, like, revealing anything. So I kind of, no pressure, but I have to be the face of everything. And kind of, like, yeah. I respect that. I respect that. When you become kind of a celebrity, you don't really want people to know where you live, you know? I mean, a lot of people don't want to even talk about where they live. And I didn't mention where you lived. I just said the area, you know? And you might not even be in the area anymore. I don't know where you are. We don't know anything. We just know we love you. That's all we know. I'm an enigma. No one knows where I live. I almost feel like I'm coining different phrases about you every time you come on, you know. And this time you're the enigma, you know. So it's like, you know, we'll keep trying to update the phrases as we go along here. So, you know, I know you're going to keep doing all the stuff you're doing, because including, you know, probably doing more modeling and things like that, because you're really good at it. So you know, Collibrina.com is like the main place where you can get, I wrote this down actually, you can get gleefully lost for hours. Do you like that? Gleefully lost for hours. Oh, I love that. And you can, because you have more photos on that site than any, you have 1 million photos. It's incredible. And OnlyFans, of course, which is good for alt models because you can make some cash. And your site there is excellent. It's equally exciting. What else? Those are the 2 main things. But, you know, is there anything else that someone might not know about where they could find you? I feel like my website and my OnlyFans are definitely the best places to find me. And they're also very different in terms of experiences. I would actually urge someone to check out both if you just want to see all ends of the weirdness spectrum for me. And assuming that you wouldn't get tired of seeing me naked, because there's a lot of that on both of those places. Well, I haven't gotten tired of seeing you naked yet, because I've explored both sites, you know, and I'm sure a lot of other people have and will. A lot of people have asked me about you, and I'm always telling them, go check out the sites, go to the page, you'll see what's going on here, because you are there's definitely the artistic aspect to everything that you're about,
is high for me, is the highest. That's where it is. That's your level of artistic ability is very high, and that's why I get high on Collibrina, because I really like, that sound a little corny, but you know what I mean. I think that,
the anti-drug.
Yeah. But thank you once again. It seemed like an hour just went by really fast. I knew that was going to happen. But thanks a lot for coming on. And I know that, if I ask you to come on again, you will. And I'm thinking the next time I have you on, we'll have a third person on with us so we can have a wider discussion about some of these really interesting topics.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And, I hope that we get through the rest of this pandemic and you can get out there and start doing more stuff and get your book out and all that. And, of course, I wish you the very best. And I love your work. And just please keep doing it.
Oh, thank you. I wish you all of the safety and health that anyone can have.
Well, thank you. Well, we'll talk soon. You take care, okay?
Absolutely.
All right. Bye. Oh, thank you, Collibrina, for coming on the show. That was fantastic. I love having her on the show. She's so interesting, and her work is so great, and it's constantly evolving. So please check out Collibrina.com. Once again, I want to thank Baby Loves Tacos and all the other mom and pop and independent stores that are working extra hard during this pandemic to keep their doors open and serve their customers. I'm just going to rattle off some of them for you. JLS Design in Leicester, Mass., Moonbeam Cafe in Oakmont, PA, The Record Archive in Rochester, New York, Sugar Taco out in California, LA area, one shop on Melrose, a new one in Sherman Oaks is opening up soon, The Heavy Metal Shop in Salt Lake City, Utah, Diesel Cafe right down the road in Somerville, The Book Lovers Gourmet in my hometown of Webster, Mass., and all those other cool shops out there. Next week will not be any less interesting, I promise you, as the Riot Girls Bait Bag will be on the show. This is a cool 3-girl band. They're from North Haven, Maine. It's an island, so I'm really looking forward to that. We've played some of their music, and we'll have them on the show next week. Before leaving, we want to thank our engineer, Nick C., here at NewAlliance East in Somerville, and also our patrons whose monthly contributions keep the Blowing Smoke with Twisted Rico podcast going. If you want to support the podcast, go to patreon.com/Twisted Rico. Love to have you join the club. Please contact me at twistedrico@gmail.com. You can follow the Instagram page at Blowing Smoke with TR, and there's also a Twitter page at Blowing Smoke BS, and there's also a Facebook page which you can check out, and some of our audio versions and some older video is on YouTube. This is Blowing Smoke with Twisted Rico. I'm your host, Steve Ricardo. Till the next time we say goodbye, keep the rock and roll alive.